over the course of the second season. Some really interesting things happen with her and her sort of school life, and we do start getting much closer, and I just love her to death. I mean, I love acting with her, and it's just to have been with someone, an artist, and she's 13, when we start working together, and now she's 16, and it's amazing just to watch someone and how their range grows and how their sort of command of what they're doing grows, and it's really sweet. So I've enjoyed working with her. And
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
And yeah, that's without giving anything away. That's what happens with her, and then Abby does come to town, and it sort of makes, when Abby comes to town, I think it makes my character step up. Because it's fish or cut bait at that point. Either you're gonna be a dad and you want her to be in town and you want to be a part of her life, or you don't. And we make that decision over the first bunch of episodes.
To pick up on what Joe was talking about a few minutes ago, now that you're back for a second season, do you find it easier? Do you find that you have more pressure or less pressure?
The same amount of ungodly pressure. Yeah, I mean, it's rough. Every scene you want it to be as good as it can be. Every moment you want it to be as clean as it can be, or as funny as it can be, or as dramatic as it can be. And that hasn't changed, I don't think. I mean, working with this group of people, it's nice because everybody sort of has the same work ethic. Where we're not a show where we come in and everybody starts to learn their lines, and everybody has a bunch of stuff they want to try, and we're always sort of under this in this pressure cooker of like, how quick can we get it up to where we want it to be, and that's always been the case, and it's exciting that it's still the case.
Yeah, it's actually really, I find this season a lot more fun in that sense, because now that it's been a few years, or a year and a bit that we've been working together, we all kind of understand how to bump off each other and everything and react to each other, and we can just everything seems to run smoother in that respect. But then of course, there's always, when making a TV show, you are always under the gun. There's always a large amount of stuff to do in a day that you can't always, like we haven't been able to fit in sometimes. So, but as an actor, it's just fun, just the challenge of trying to do that quickly and trying to make it good.
Yeah, and there's pressure. We raised the bar last year. And so it comes to a point where you come in every day, and sometimes I think you get frustrated. I think we all get frustrated. And then all of a sudden you'll see what the work that you actually did was far better than you thought, and you're being extra hard on yourself. But I think that, I mean, it's not just the six of us sitting here, but it's everybody on this set, the entire crew. People work so hard to make it so good that every once in a while we need to take a deep breath and go, all right, you know what, we're fine, and we're going to be fine. But I think that was the work ethic we brought to it last year that brought the show to a certain level, and that's the work ethic we're bringing this year.
You raise a good point, though. It's also the crew. I mean, it's the same crew. It's almost exactly the same crew as we had last year. So, like when Scotty comes over and he's pulling his mark. I mean, everybody just knows how to talk to each other at this point, and knows what certain people need and how can we. So we work faster than we used to, which is great.
We've got kind
it
of
never feels like you're working fast enough. I mean, television is like this ongoing machine that never stops. So you've got the actors who are trying to make the scene as powerful as they can make it. You have the crew who's trying to make it look as good and sound as good as we can make it. And we only have a certain number of hours per day, per week, per episode to get all of that done. And so it's like once the train starts to go down the track, there is no stopping it. And you just have to keep up. And that really, from a day-to-day, sort of minute-to-minute standpoint, becomes our major challenge for every episode.
And Colin's in the engine throwing wood in. Let's go! Let's go!
But he has that really cool hat.
My question is the writers, how much leeway do they give you with regard to the script, and how much input are you allowed with regard to your characters when you interact with each other?
They've been great, and it costs them a ton of energy to keep that door open, because we're a particularly vocal group. So, they're always dealing with calls in about this and calls in about this, and did we think about this, and does that, is this going to affect this? If I do this, how does that affect that? And we have input in a sense that we're constantly pitching stuff, but ultimately it's their decision on where the characters go. But as far as a day-to-day basis, you know, we whatever we're budgeted for, whatever it is, 13 and a half a day hours, and we go over. So you have to get it done a certain amount of time. So a lot of times they'll write something that doesn't fit a space. So they do allow us to sort of tweak as we go and you know, make it fit and make it work, because it's better that it be real than we adhere to something that doesn't fit in the space.
And I think also as a credit to the executive producers and the network, that instead of basically having a formula and just churning out episodes and keeping it safe, they took huge chances. And with huge chances comes huge risk, and sometimes things don't quite work. And I think it's a credit to the show and a credit to all the people working, you know, behind the scenes creatively, that they actually did take chances. So anytime maybe something didn't quite work or didn't quite feel right or needed to be massaged, it was a good thing, because it meant that creatively people were constantly willing to take risks and try and push the envelope.
And also, I'd say, you know, we don't necessarily think we're always right. We'll probably give us maybe an 80%. We make it better. 20% we just screw something up. But you know, we try.
But you know, most shows, they don't want to hear anything that you have to say. So it really, and I think it's what makes the show even better, that they give us an opportunity to, you know, tweak some things, because we are sitting here in the trenches, and sometimes we can catch things that maybe one writer didn't, because we're anal and crazy, and we remember this and that and that. But yeah, that doesn't make sense, because yesterday I scratched my ear here, and you know, so I think that it just makes it so much better that they've let us in that door probably a little 2 feet more than they'd like to.
It's nice that
It is completely collaborative. I mean, it gets down even to our script supervisor, Alex, who will also come up and say, I have an idea, if you'd said blah, 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 blah. And very often, it all makes sense. I mean, again, you know, the train is running. We're trying to keep the mythology of the show on track. We have 13 hours, or 14 or 15 in some cases, to get the show done in 7 days per episode, and so it has to be collaborative. Otherwise, you would just be fighting all the time. We also have a wonderful producer, Grant Rosenberg, who's up here with us all the time. Is Grant back there? Who is our liaison between the writers back in LA and what we do up here, and he is extremely resourceful in terms of helping us figure out our sort of day-to-day, moment-to-moment problems as we move through the script. So it all kind of works. It's, you know, everybody basically is throwing some kind of coal on the fire to keep the engine moving. Otherwise, we really would sort of come to a crashing stop.
And it also keeps us invested, I think emotionally invested, and it keeps us vigilant. You know, if you know you're just showing up and saying your words, you can't really adjust it. You sort of approach that a little differently than, you know, what can I catch? What can I make? What can I improve? And it sort of keeps you in a different place.
giving you that sort of creative, it does, it makes you care more about the character, because you're allowed to give your heart in the character, as opposed to just being, you know, doing what someone else is telling you to do. So it's nice.
A lot of the times too, I think it almost makes it feel more organic with us. You know, it flows a little bit better, like just as an actor and as the characters, if we're allowed that sort of liberty to even just suggest, you know, moving a line down after a couple other ones, or like changing up lines with other people. I know, and it's great too, because this whole group, there's no big egos around, so no one's kind of like, I want to say everything and I want to do this and blah blah blah. There's a lot of like, let's kind of switch it around. Wait, was that a laugh at me and my big ego? No, I was pretty much done. I just kind of jumped in.
Fargo the tyrant.
Are we talking too much in every question? Should we shut up more?
I have the mic here. Hey, Colin, were you the driving force behind the podcast, and do you know if there are plans to do more of those the next season and involve more of the cast?
Definitely, yeah. There's Matt. Hey, Matt. Yeah, well, I'm that guy. Like when I rent a DVD, I do listen to every single DVD commentary on it, which is incredibly time-consuming.